here and around the world for a deep democracy that says we will not be quiet, we will not be controlled, we will work for a world in which all countries are connected. This is a quote that Gloria Steinem says in her speech at the Women's March on Washington. Her goal was to inspire women all over the world to come together and rise up. Gloria Steinem uses relevant examples and powerful statements to encourage to stand up and fight for their rights. Who is Gloria Steinem? She is a nationally recognized leader who rose to power in the second wave of feminism during the 1960s and 70s. She fought for women's rights and gender equality through her writing and journalism. Steinem wrote numerous books and articles and founded the Miss Magazine, which was the first magazine that focused solely on contemporary issues with a feminist viewpoint. She's highly qualified to give this speech because she dedicated her life to the advancement of women gaining their equal rights. Most of her speeches were done in the 70s without videos, so I chose one of her more recent speeches to empower women of the 21st century. When and where? The speech took place in Washington, D.C. on January 21st, 2017. It took place the day after Trump's inauguration into the presidential office. The protest was arranged by female leaders across the world to protest against the inauguration and the ideologies that Trump represented. They felt their rights being threatened by Trump's misogynistic views and sexist beliefs. This encouraged women to rise up and make a statement in the form of marching to the nation's capital. Across the world, there were a total of 673 women's marches, featuring over 7 million people worldwide. There were marches on all 7 continents, the most in North America with 481, followed by Europe with 84. There was even one in Antarctica. The largest protest was in Washington, D.C., where Steinem spoke, with over 500,000 people present, which is the largest single-day protest in U.S. history.
Stated, right? Because of people power. Because this is the upside of the downside. This is an outpouring of energy and true democracy like I have never seen in my very long life. It is wide in age, it is deep in diversity, and remember, the Constitution does not begin with I, the President, it begins with we, the people. So don't try to divide us. Do not try to divide us. If you force Muslims to register, we will all register as Muslims.
So that was just a little clip from her speech at the Women's March. Next up, we have the rhetorical devices she used. She used the rhetorical device anaphora in her quote, "We are united here for bodily integrity. We are at one with each other. We are looking at each other, not up. We are linked, we are not ranked." She repeats the beginning statement, "we are," to place emphasis on the togetherness of this march of women standing together. The next rhetorical device is simile. She uses this as her opening line. "You look great. I wish you could see yourself. It's like an ocean." This is a perfect example of using using similes to provide relevant comparison. Her final rhetorical device is allusion. And I was just talking with people from our many sister marches, including the one in Berlin, and they asked me to send a special message. We in Berlin know that walls don't work. This alludes to Trump's intention of building a wall between the U.S. and Mexico. Leaders from the Women's March in Berlin responded by saying, "We in Berlin know that walls don't work," which alludes to the catastrophic events of the Berlin Wall. Significance then and now. It was significant then because it took place the day after Trump's inauguration. It was during a time when women felt all the progress they had worked for over the last several decades slipping away under the control of a new president. It spurred women into action, like numerous other times in history, and it led them to organize and to protest. It's significant now with the 2024 presidential election coming up, where Trump is still a leading contender. She also speaks on current women's issues in several bills that were overturned due to the willpower of women. Her words will remain relevant, likely forever, unless gender equality is achieved. Ethos, pathos, and logos. So the ethos quote I chose was, I think that because I and my beloved co-chairs, the golden oldies, right? Harry Belafonte, Dolores Huerta, LaDonna Harris, all these great people, we may be the oldest marchers here today. This provides her credibility to march here because she and those several other people were the ones that arranged the march and brought all these women together to protest. The pathos, and there are women here I know who have survived a national and global sex industry that profiteers from body invasion. This pulls the emotion of the countless women who have been sexually abused throughout history, and many of which are present at this march. The logos, and remember Poland, where last month the government passed an anti-abortion law and 6 million women turned out in the streets and they had to change it. This provides the logic, which is a real-life example of what happened when women protest and come together. The lasting importance. This boils down to the ongoing fight for women's rights. She uses powerful words and statements that are still extremely relevant in today. This speech has the kind of content that will remain timeless, and the only scenario in which it will lose its integrity or relevancy is if complete gender equality is achieved, which is highly unlikely. In conclusion, throughout her decades of activism, Steinem has made many memorable speeches. This one in particular will endure because of her empowering words on the need to resist and to stand up for what you believe in. Thank you for listening to my speech.